Isaiah Korir was involved in a motorcycle accident and he has scars to show it. The resident of Bomet County nearly lost his leg, but fortunately lives to tell his story and how the incident affected his work. Aaron Kipkoech will be speaking to him as he makes his submissions to the court. In 2021, Naomi Maina lost her sister Dorcas Musheru Githaka to a motorbike accident. The claims are that the rider was an unlicensed operator and he ran into her and then sped off after hitting her. Ken Nyaga leads us into the submissions of the high school teacher who was bereaved by Boda. Henry Muchwenge is a boda operator in Nairobi Central Business District. He is also the Nairobi County Treasurer of the Boda Safety Association of Kenya. Brian Moshiri will be tasking him with the accusations leveled against the riders. Dr. Duncan Kibogong is the Deputy Director for Road Safety at the National Transport and Safety Authority. He is a road safety champion and I will be seeking to get responses from him on the government position on the situation at hand.
Court is in session, Your Honor. Once again, it's a pleasure and an honor to prosecute matters of human and national importance in our news court, the Court of Public Interest. Justice Wanjiko, you may have seen news headlines such as Boda madness, dubious do this. How could they do this? Terror on two wheels, borders of anarchy, the list could go on and on. So we present this matter before you through our submissions. Aaron Kipkoech kicks off this court session with a scene setter from the county of Bomet, which has many reported cases of boda crashes.
My lords and ladies, the adjectives that have become the broader identity of the boda industry, for some, are more than just a bunch of adjectives. It was not just a road crash, but lives and hearts crashed. I have a submission on this.
I used to be doing a business in motorbike in 2013. But nowadays I'm no longer doing that business because I was involved in road accident and my leg was paralyzed. I'm not able to carry a passenger because I'm not qualified even to drive because I'm driving in a style. I'm not well balanced in a motorbike nowadays. So I'm just using as a personal means that I cannot able to earn anything. The reason why I faced this road accident, the road that we used to be using, it was so rough. It was not good, it was not in a good condition. So my motorbike was slide and then I just felt urging our government, especially also Bomet and also Kenya, to help us as motorbike drivers to train us in some skills on how we can able to drive. You can find most of us, those who are driving motorbike, they have no skills on how, even about road signs. Sometimes you don't know where to stop, where to overtake, where to do anything in road because we don't have that skills, we don't have that training, we don't have that education. And then also I want to urge also people who are driving motorbike, let us try also not to rush.
Once again, these experiences for some people are raw, personal, and not just statistics.
Your Honor, allow me to step in here. The sting of boda crashes is painful and even worse when it's rogue riders whose actions lead to death. Allow me to make these submissions.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Naomi Maina. Dandangu marehemu anaitwa Dorcas Musheru ambaye alipata accident ya boda pale Embu County, Mbele South.
Hallelujah.
Sasa vile alipata ule mkosi aligongwa kwa boda kama anaenda sokoni akiwa hakufahamu ya kwamba kuna motorbike inakuja, ilikuwa imeoverspeed na ilikuwa imepepa watu wawili. Alafu sasa walipomgonga hakuna mtu alisimama.
Tukiamini. Sema ene.
Alikuwa na watoto 8 na pale ameacha watoto 3 ambao walikuwa wanahitaji masomo ambayo alikuwa anashughulikia kwa maana baba yao anjiwezi ni mkulima tu wa vichaka vidogo na kuna kijana alikuwa form 3 na sasa wale wengine wawili walikuwa college, msichana na kijana. Kwa hivyo hiyo hadi tuliachwa katika hali nzito sana, tukajaribu kufuata haki hatukupata mpaka sasa kama familia, na kwa hivyo tulishangaa tufanye namna gani. Pikipiki iliweza kujulikana, kijana mwenye aligonga marehemu alikuwa ameandikwa na mtu ambaye anafanya kazi kwa serikali hapo kwetu nyumbani, na walipojua ya kwamba bodaboda yake imegongana, alienda akaonga mapolisi na bodaboda ikatengenezwa ikarudishwa nyumbani. Sisi kama familia tungeomba haki ipatikane, na ili tuweze kuona msaada wa kusaidia wale watoto, kwa sababu kama tungepata haki, labda wale watoto wangepata mtu wa kuwashikilia waweze kusoma. Hiyo ndio furaha yetu, maana furaha ya mama ilikuwa mtoto amalize shule aweze kupata haki yake na maisha yake ya baadaye.
My lord and ladies, Dorcas represents a life lost, a family bereaved, and a breadwinner gone. She, like all other victims, are not just statistics. These are my submissions to the court.
Your Honor, he has mentioned statistics. This court shall now get better insight on the situation from just that, statistics.
The National Transport and Safety Authority reports that between 1st January 2022 and 19th July 2022, 2,590 people had died in road crashes across the country. That translates to 13 to 14 people dying a day. This is an increase from 2,441 people who are reported to have died in the same period last year. Now, of these 2,590 fatalities, there were 928 pedestrians, 238 drivers, 428 passengers, 240 pillion passengers, 35 pedal cyclists, and 721 motorcyclists. While the pedestrians have the single largest number of these at 928, the deaths directly attributed to motorcycles stand at 961. This is the 721 motorcyclists and the 240 pillion passengers. When you compare the motorcycle-related deaths between this year and last year, as at 19th July, motorcyclists rose from 688 to 721, while the pillion passengers who died rose from 232 to 240. The data, however, does not specify if the motorcycles are private or commercials, but the majority of the two-wheelers are the commercial bodabodas.
Your Honor, it's only befitting that this court hears from the accused, and on that, I call Brian Mushiri to lead us into that set of submissions.
Your Honor, they have been accused of taking Kenyans for a ride with their promises of efficient transport. Some of these boda rides end fatally. Allow me to initiate this discussion and call on Henry, a boda operator in Nairobi, to take to the stand. To start us off, I would like to table the evidence on the said matter here. How do you feel when you see this?
Actually, Your Honor, I don't feel good. It is so embarrassing, and it's not something to just take for granted, because this is something that involves the life of people, and you know how precious the life is. So I'm very sorry about that. It's not something to be encouraged.
Henry, you don't give your clients helmets. What do you have to say about this?
I'll dispute a bit. I'll also agree with you. It's not everybody who is not giving out the clients the helmets. We are giving out the helmets, but not everybody. Maybe some might say that the helmets are expensive. Some, you know, the nature of our bikes, also carrying the helmet, some take it as or see it as a burden, so they don't carry the helmets. So when you get a client, you have got only one helmet, you might see on the road, maybe someone also decide to give the passenger the helmet, and it goes without one. In protection, it carries like almost 80% of the passenger's life or the rider's life. So it is very important.
Henry, boda operators in Kenya are used by politicians. And do you have anything to say about this?
Be used, but not to be used in a way that interferes with other people, activities. You know, politics is a time for politics. Everyone is engaging in politics. So if they use you to campaign, is well and good. your agreement, you are to take him from here to there, or you are to maybe to mobilize people for him, but not to be used in a way that maybe you go destroy people's property, you go to the extent of killing each other because of a politician, because politics will come and go.
Henry, talk to this honorable court about criminal activities in the border sector being used by criminal gangs to castigate and be an issue to society.
This sector is a very big sector. The sector that now everybody, the government and other stakeholders have to come in and help. Because this sector, there are some who enter into the business, but they are not entering as businessmen. Maybe they are there to hide. So I cannot say that border are not being used by criminal, and they are also not criminals, because we have borders who are just criminals, and we have borders who are used by criminals, and we have border who are doing it for a living. On my side, I will also pass the battle to the government, because they have got all the machineries to look into criminal activities and also organize this border sector in such a way that we have got a way, stipulated way, that somebody, when you want to go into that business of border, you have to follow this and this and this. These regulations that you must follow before you become a rider. The Kenya police, the government, should come in strong to check what these other guys who come to destroy our business are doing, and the law should take the hand.
Your Honor, these are not the only operators whose comments the court seeks to hear. We also have more who we tasked in various parts of the country on the same.
Kusema ukweli, hii watu Abiria wanatutumia sisi kama wana bodaboda kama wateja, na kumbe wengine ni wezi, wanaiba mapikipiki.
Vijana wetu hawana leseni, na tunaomba serikali waweze kusaidia vijana wetu ili wapelekwe training, waweze kujua sheria ya barabara.
Nilienda shule kusomea udereva, lakini kulingana na hii barabara yetu hakuna sheria zingine zenye nilisoma kwa shule zenye zinaweza fanya nisikiuke sheria za barabara.
Kulingana na kuendesha pikipiki inategemea na umri. Wale watu wamekomaa wanaenda kiasi, lakini hawa vijana ambaye ni chipukizi ambao wamekuja juzi bado wanatamaa.
Raya anakuambia peleka pikipiki mbio au polepole, hawezi kunilazimisha, kwa sababu nikisema sasa nipeleke pikipiki mbio na maybe kuna gari inakuja mbio ama pikipiki nyingine, ni rahisi mimi kugongwa. So sitahatarisha maisha yangu kwa sababu ya customer.
Wale watu ambao wanaletanga ajali ni vijana kidogo kidogo, ambaye mtu anaenda anachukua pikipiki leo ati amejua kuendesha pikipiki na hajajua. Cha pili, nitakana waende driving, ujue speed yenye unakimbiza watu naye. Sio tu unaruka wewe unafikiri ni komando anaruka juu, kumbe ni jamaa anabeba abiria, anasahau anabeba watu.
Abiria wenyewe ndio anasema tukimbie mbio kwa sababu mahali anapoenda maybe ni yuko na haraka. Sasa wakati mwingine ndio nakuta tunaweza sababisha ajali kwa sababu ya hiyo.
Your Honor, if I may, while the accidents and incidents of doom and gloom are true and unfortunate, are the border operators the only ones to blame for this unruliness?
But Your Honor, what my submissions raise here is the responsibility held by the riders, and not in any way to afford and absolve any...
But, my lords and ladies, if I may, Brian, nobody is making that accusation against my learned colleague. I beg to make a case from a different angle. Aren't the riders sometimes under the pressure of their clients, that is you, Wanjiko, to speed, overlap, to run the lights, name it? What say you?
Hata sisi Abiria pia tuko na changamoto pia, tunawaambia ya kwamba ninapopanda pikipiki ninaambia ya kwamba harakisha, maana ninapoenda silik naambia kimbia mbio ili saa isinishike.
Wewe ambaye ni mteja wa bodaboda kama mimi, inakupasa ufahamu ya kwamba bodaboda hii, wakati wewe kasirisha mtu wa bodaboda, hapo ndio mmelete shida na kuleta maajali barabarani.
Upande wangu naona wana bodaboda ni uwanga na mbio, si abiria. Kwa hapa anakimbia reta arudi achukue abiria wengine. Ndio maana anakosa accident kwa hapa kutafuta pesa.
Barabara ni mbovu. Inafaa barabara itengenezwe kwa wananchi. At least wakimu mahitaji yao kwa sawa, wanategemea barabara. Pesa yenye wanatafuta, at least barabara kama ni safi na sapata customers kupeleka.
Madereva wengi hawana driving license. Hiyo kitu inafanya mtu anatoka tu anachukua pikipiki, anaanza kuendesha kwa barabara, hajajua sheria. Ndio unaona accident mingi zinapatikana katika hizi barabara zetu.
Your Honor, in all this there are laws and law enforcers who are accused of being part of the problem sometimes.
I saw somebody saying, they will give up, they will be tired. We will not be tired. We are going to follow this through. We will pursue this the way we pursued the slot machines. We will pursue this the way we have been working on illicit brews, and let us focus. Usiseme eti wewe unataka kuwa police commander ambaye unapendwa na watu, you don't want to be too hard. Eti wewe ni mtu ambaye unataka kuzungumza na watu so that you are a nice commander. Safari, there is nothing about being nice. It's about ensuring that the law is met as we go forward. So we start Monday morning. We gave sufficient notice on this matter. The guidelines are here. Everything as outlined must be confirmed.
Your Honor, at this point I call on Dr. Duncan Kibugong, the Deputy Director of Road Safety at the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, to take to the stand. There are videos of boda operators that are, when they are, flouting the law, etc. From where you sit as NTSA, how does that feel?
Yes, Your Honor, I think that is really a sad incident that we're seeing the behavior of the boda on the highways, and that, of course, is translated to a high number of fatalities and injuries and crashes among this sector. And it's something of concern to Your Honor, and I think as NTSA and as government, we are working our very best to support this sector so that they improve in terms of safety on the roads. And we put forth a number of, should I say, initiatives so that they help this particular sector.
Let us support boda, yes, but on one condition. It must be orderly, it must be clean. And we will request the Ministry of Transport to identify the boda associations across the country, one or two of them to nominate representation, to look at the new code of operation for boda in the country.
Is it a fair statement to say that the bodas have wameweza serikali? The government has been unable to tame them?
Yes, no, that is not very right. I think that point is not valid at all. In 2015, together with stakeholders, we put a number of regulations to control this sector. This sector for quite a while remained unregulated, especially since when there was what I can call high number of importation of these particular motorcycles into the country. So in that case, then the regulations came, and the regulations are quite extensive because it does give responsibilities on each of the actors in that particular sector. The rider is supposed to ensure that all time that you need to wear a helmet. The vehicle, or rather the motorcycle, should be in a roadworthy manner or roadworthy status, and at the same time, the expectation of this particular rider as well is supposed to ensure that they only carry one passenger. If you are the owner of a motorcycle, then you're supposed to ensure that you only give that motorcycle to someone who has a riding license, and then two, ensure that is insured accordingly, so that in case of an injury, there are compensations to the relevant people. So if you are the seller of this particular motorcycle, you need to sell that motorcycle together with 2 helmets and 2 reflector jackets at all time. To add it up to that, the government have gone further in recognition that this is becoming increasingly a big problem. The minister, the cabinet secretary in charge of transport, infrastructure and urban development, together with the cabinet secretary in charge of interior and coordination of national government, came up with a task force to basically understand this sector and come up with the recommendations, and that was about 2-3 years back. The recommendation is that to ensure that boda are registered, because we estimate the number of these players in this industry to be about 1.4, 1.5 million. So the current registration is ongoing. We have done up to close to 500,000 motorcycles across the country, putting them into circles so that they have what you call self-regulations. And at the same time, we capacitate them by taking them to driving school or encouraging them, as per law, making them to have a driving license. But not just having a driving license, but ensure that they go for requisite driver examination, and even before the examination is the training. Matters road safety, it is the responsibility primarily of the rider and the passenger to ensure that they are safe on the road.
You said that you've registered 500,000 so far since the registration began. So is there anything that so far we have gained from this registration in regards to just taming the unruliness in the sector?
From the data which is in our website, we can actually access with the right credentials, is that you're able to get where most border borders, where do they happen. Then two, we understand the level of those ones who have been trained and have not been trained. As a border group comprising 100 group called, for example, Riara Sacco, then in this group, we provide them what we call public education. We provide them, encourage them to have self-regulations.
And you mentioned about the task force, which was 2018.
Yes.
The report 2019. It's 2022. We are hearing there's implementation, but the report has somehow not managed to make it to the public space. It's almost like there's some sense of secrecy, and there's the understanding that, you know, border has got a lot of interests there.
The report is not a secret. It's available actually in the website. And then two, the implementation of this take a period of time. The government, as you know, are working with the National Youth Service, for example, to have more or less mop up the riders who don't have a license, who have not been trained and licensed, so that they get trained in a more fast-track manner, because we have a number of youth out there who are operating border, but they have not been licensed. Because even the number of border coming to the country is quite a number.
So just in closing, and as a matter of avoidance of doubt or assumption, are we confidently saying that the government has the border sector under control?
Yes, the government is taking this very seriously, and border is under its control and working towards improving it for the sake of improving both security and safety in the country.
There's been the concern that, you know, once NTSA and police are on the roads, etc., it's a cash cow. It becomes an opportunity to extort, and some of the border guys would even confess to it, and even the other motorists.
As they say that it takes two to tangle, and in this particular case, that is not to say that we are encouraging it, but the other way around is that we should always, if you are in compliance with the law at all times, then there should not be any business of having to part with any cent of yours. The majority of our services as NTSA are automated, and automation means that interface between the person, the officers and the clients is limited. Nevertheless, we also practice high integrity measures in all of our areas of operation to ensure that corruption-related issues are addressed and handled accordingly and suppressed over time.
Some flout laws bring about loss and laws, 6 feet deep laws, risk on the brakes and spark heartbreaks, leaving people praying for a break from the heart. A crash on the road could lead to a crashed home. Don't just be in a rush, cause you could cause a crash and get a crash cause on living on a rash cause. So go easy on the clutch, or you could be forced to clutch on crashes, or have us gather at grave sites and churches. We all need to heed the need to be a different breed, to be freed and indeed understand that we don't need to bleed, but we need to weed out that harmful seed. May humanity and integrity form the gist of the creed by which we choose to live. Live different, live unusual, and these are the submissions of our News Court.